Go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to day 2 of the Transitions Academy. We're going to give you just a minute to make sure that everybody can get through the door. Sometimes it's a narrow doorway, so we want to give time for everybody to get in. All right, looks like we have a good group here today, and we've got live transcriptioning happening. So again, welcome to day 2 of the Transitions Academy. We had a great day yesterday, just chocked full with a lot of information. The good news for all of us is that everything was recorded yesterday and will be recorded today and available for you to go back and share with colleagues or to listen to it again. To make sure that you got all the information that you needed. Today, we're going to start off with 2 wonderful sessions. The first session that we're going to start off with first is on adult education and the one-stop integration. It's the emerging practices of service integration. And we're going to shine a spotlight on College of Lake County and their partners. And this morning, we have Dr. Arlene Santos-George from College of Lake County here, and hopefully we'll have her partner, Eva Locke, who's the job center supervisor from the One Stop there. And I will say that if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. In this larger session, you're not able to unmute, but if you want to put something in the chat, then Arlene and Eva can answer those questions for you. So without further ado, let me turn it over to Arlene and let her get started, giving you some information about their integration in their One Stop.
All right. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming. It's really early in the morning, so I hope you had your coffee or hot chocolate. It's really very cold today. But anyway, thank you for coming. I am here today to talk about our one-stop integration experience in the Job Center of Lake County. Eva Locke is also here, and I'm hoping that she would be able to make it. She is the Job Center of Lake County supervisor. Next slide, please. So just a little bit of background on Lake County, Illinois. We are at the northeastern tip of Illinois. According to the American Community Survey, as of 2019, there were 696,535 residents in Lake County, and this is a decline of 1% from the 2010 census. Our county is diverse. There's 61% white, 22% Hispanic, 8% Black, and 8% Asian. Our workforce is highly educated and diverse. Only 10% has below high school diploma. And we also have a sizable number or proportion of the population that need ESL. So 29% speak a language other than English at home. Our unemployment rate is not, I would say, is favorable relatively. So we have a 5.4% unemployment rate in August of 2021. And there are pockets of poverty in Lake County. It's not really the most affluent or one of the affluent counties in Illinois because 7% of the population are below the poverty line. And that's why there are services like TANF. 550 individuals receive TANF benefits, and 34,000 were SNAP recipients in August of 2021. Lake County's top industry cluster is biopharmaceuticals. As you know, Abbott is here, AbbVie is here, Baxter is here, and medical supply chains like Medline. And also, we're very close to Kenosha, which is, or Racine, which are actually, how should I call it, manufacturing or supply chain logistics centers like Amazon is actually there. Next slide. And so with this backdrop, the Job Center of Lake County serves all the needs of the workforce development of Lake County. And in so doing, because of the WIOA mandate and the WIOA law, there is a need to create a one-stop center. So in Lake County, the Job Center of Lake County is the one-stop. And basically, in terms of like organization, in terms of like a legal entity, it is a consortium of 3 institutions or organizations. So that would be workforce development. So that's under the EOC, and then IDES, Illinois Department of Employment Security. So that's for Title III. Title I was, of course, Workforce Development of Lake County. And Title II is in the consortium, is the College of Lake County. However, the Job Center of Lake County, in terms of operations, actually it operates with 4 core members and a different non-core members. So those are coming from the like the youth organizations like Youth Conservation Corps and Youth Build, some government agencies like the Waukegan Housing Authority. We also have our other APC partners, District 113, which is Highland Park, and District 120, which is Mundelein High School. We also have like National ABLE and also community action partnerships. These are all very engaged and very active participants in the core and non-core, as core and non-core members. And then in order to run efficiently and to really provide adequate and efficient services in an organized manner, the Job Center core and non-core members meet every other month as the operations committee. So we have an operations committee, and the operations committee is actually a part of the Lake County Workforce Development Board. Now, the Job Center has evolved since its formation back in 2015. It has increased the engagement of the core and non-core members with each other, because like when we first started, it was like, what am I doing here? What are we supposed to be doing at the Job Center of Lake County? We had staff there, like College of Lake County dedicates 2 members of our adult education staff to be physically present at the Job Center of Lake County at designated times. And actually, we have actually increased our holding our offices there. Our student success coordinators, who are really also involved with making sure that that our clients pursue career pathways, career certificates, and then making sure that they get jobs afterwards. They're also holding office at the Job Center of Lake County. But it really took us a long way to reach this point where we have a good sense of who we are, what we do there, and how do we connect with each other, and how we serve the needs of like certain individuals, and sometimes really have co-enrollment in our program and in other programs. So Eva, I'm hoping that she would be here in a little while. We'll tell you more about that. But what we did in the past 2.5 years, and actually before COVID started, the Job Center of Lake County supervisor, and that's Eva Locke, she really made a big effort to hold cross trainings. So every month there will be like a specific organization that's a part of the Job Center of Lake County. They spotlight that organization so that they can really know more about like what services do they provide, who do they serve, where they are, and who are the main contact to seek assistance or to make referrals to. And then, of course, there were also like planning sessions that the Job Center of Lake County hosted. They hired a consultant so that the operations committee members can really think about like, what is it that we need to do to make ourselves, according to WIOA, really be a one-stop center and provide services to a lot of the residents, and especially like, if, like I said, co-enrollment in the different core and non-core members to provide services to the same individual. So the next slide, please. So during the planning session, we were actually able to come up with some goals for the operations committee or for the job center of Lake County. And one of the key points or key highlights of that planning session was that really we need to have some integration goals for the next 2 to 3 years. And what we all agreed upon based on that discussion of all the stakeholders in that job center of Lake County, we all came up with like common goals, common integration goals. And the first one is that we knew that effective communication among the partners must really be timely. So if one of our students need, a big help when it comes to, let's say, getting TANF or finding a job, or then we will actually be able to communicate that in a timely manner with each other. And then we also know that we need to coordinate access for customers so that they're not lost in the whole system. So like they don't have to go to one institution or one agency and then have to go to another provider, without really knowing or without getting any referral from the other agencies. So we just needed to really coordinate our services so that we can provide access to each customer or to each client. And then, of course, based on WIOA, we are all obligated to provide career services. Now, of course, not all of the core partners provide career services, but those that are, we really have to make sure that we are trying to provide career services and not really be competing with each other. So for example, like when we got the early school leaver transition grant, CLC received it for the first time this year. And we knew that that program, of course, targets the out of school youths age 16 to 24. We made an effort, and also Lake County Workforce Development made an effort that we really talk with each other so that we're not really competing for the same, clients or students, and that we should really have a collaborative effort in the recruitment for our own grant, and also be serviced by the Job Center of Lake County and all the other core partners and non-core partners if they need it. And then lastly, of course, business services are delivered by function. And so, workforce development provide, training, job training opportunities. IDES provide the job search in terms of like, according to Wagner Peiser, all the information that's necessary for a person to look for a job. And together, there's also the workforce development providing business services to employers, making sure that the employers are connected with the potential candidates that they can hire, and also in terms of like apprenticeships and internships. So, so we knew that we have to integrate and all of these goals. And so we decided that from the sessions that we had for planning and from cross training, that we need to find a referral system. So that referral system is really one of the things I have been, how should I call it, advocating for since I got into the Job Center of Lake County back in 2015. And it took us 5 years to really come up with a really good product, a really good outcome. And so I'm hoping Eva is here already so she can talk about the Unify system. And it is the referral system of the Job Center of Lake County. Is she here?
I'm sorry to tell you, Arlene, we've been trying to get in touch with her, so hopefully she's okay, but I do not believe she's here. Eva, if you happen to be a person that's calling in and trying to get, so let us know in the chat or call me on my cell, but otherwise, Arlene, I'm sorry.
I have to do it.
But we know, Arlene, we know that you can carry this and you can keep.
Well, I'll try doing it. All right.
Yes.
So as I have mentioned before, when we developed the Unify system, and I wish I can actually point you to the link. However, I really cannot because it is a limited access to only the people in the core and non-core group. So if I open the link to you and the URL, it has no password. It's not password protected. So I really can't go to the site and share the link because of course the URL will be there. But the Unify system is a platform. It's an online platform that we know is going to really work wonders for us. And it has already been working wonders for us. It's a referral system. And like I said, it is a product. It's the baby of all of these planning sessions and cross trainings and all these discussions with all the stakeholders. And then next slide. So the webpage in June and July, the Unify system was actually brought to the Lake County Workforce Development Board meeting. They were, of course, very, very receptive to it, and they were actually able to, get a demo of the Unify system, and it was approved by the Lake County Workforce Development Board. And then there was a training also in June for all the users and who will be the main contact point. So each core and non-core member actually need to designate one person so that it's not going all over the place when somebody is referred to CLC. Our main contact here is actually Jennifer Cordova Artiaga, who is the Student Success Coordinator, and all of the others have their own contact person designated. And then the full launch was actually last July 9, and it was during the Job Center Partner Cross Training event. So we had a really good launch. Everybody was happy. Everybody was excited that that we seem to be more connected with this new system. The next slide. And then, so Unify is designed for the frontline staff members of the 14 partner organizations that contribute resources to the Job Center of Lake County. And then together we provide a broad array of services, both career, educational, training, business services to ensure that individuals and businesses make a career connection. So basically really being a part of the workforce ecosystem in Lake County, which is really a robust system that is comprised of the Lake County Partners, Job Center of Lake County, CLC, the high schools, the high school tech campus. So this is really even much more robust by providing a referral system to the different partner agencies, and that it really helps the workforce ecosystem of Lake County. And then the site is designed to inform you about the services of all partner organizations. So all partner organizations have like their own links there and have all their own icons. And it's really very easy to navigate for us. And I wish I can show you how, but I'll show you some snapshots or some screenshots. You can also refer the customers to other partner organizations from their partner page found from the list below. Okay, next slide. So this is just an example of, let's say, like when you click on, when you're there at the Unify system. So here's, so for example, like CLC, I'd like to know more about Mundelein High School because I want to refer a student who should really be referred to Mundelein High School for adult education services instead of here because they live in Mundelein. So it's much easier for the student to actually go to Mundelein High School than CLC, which is at Grace Lake and at Lakeshore or Waukegan. So when you click on Mundelein High School, there's the program description, and then you can put your name. So like for me, Jennifer Cordova will put in her name because she's the one who's making the referral, right? and then the information about the student, or what do they need exactly, their email, their contact information. So a lot of information is here, especially if, instead of making a phone call, you just put this online. And then there is a really good turnaround period, that there must be a connection within 24 business hours. Next slide, please. So the staff members, they refer a customer by clicking on the title of the pertinent organization on the Unify webpage. So I showed you that. So we clicked on Mandaline, and then we fill out the information. And like I said, it's basically contact information for who you're referring to and who you are, the person who referred that student or that client. And then a description of what is needed. So in this case, I would say, this resident needs ESL education, and he lives in, or she lives in, the Mandaline area. So this is much better suit for the students and much more convenient for the student, to attend the Mandaline ESL program. And then, of course, there's a checkbox there that says, I have permission from the referred individual to share the information listed above with the referral organization. And then next, and then let the customer know that actually they'll be contacted within 48 hours. Sorry, it's not within 24 hours, it's within 48 hours. And then from the receiving end of the referral, 1 or 2 designated receivers from each partner organization. And like I said, for us at CLC, it is Jennifer Cordova, and there's a backup for her. What is the role of the receiver? They initiate contact with the referred individuals within 24 business hours. So that's what I thought, it was 24 instead of 48. And then they must attempt to contact the referred individual at least 3 times, right? And then when there is a successful contact, the receiver will inform the individual about the organization's services and onboarding process. So for example, in this case, if we refer the student to Mandaline High School, then Mandaline High School, and that's Susan Phelps. Susan Phelps is supposed to talk about like the different, like the different class schedules, the different programs that they offer, where they are located, and the application process or the onboarding process, or a new student orientation if they have one. So basically, the usual process for onboarding any client or any customer is done after a referral is made. And we always emphasize that the receiver has a friendly voice, a very welcoming voice, so that, or someone who is really focused on customer satisfaction, so that, the client's need is really served and they feel welcome, and they will come back and they will refer other people if they need services from the Job Center of Lake County. Next slide. And then just to show you the productivity of, since July, we had 180 referrals were sent out during the first quarter, and all the 14 partners were involved. So it wasn't just CLC making a referral, or it wasn't just CLC receiving referrals. All of the 14 partners actually were either on the referral end or on the receiving end. And so we really realized that the Unify system, it is a referral system that is simple and easy to access, and that I don't know what PII is not included in referrals, so I'm sorry. That is probably a workforce development acronym that I'm not familiar with. And then we also know that because of the trainings that were provided, the customers respond to the personal touch. So we really made an effort that it's not just the technology that is simple and easy to use, but we also made sure that the frontliners, the people who are on the referral and the receiving, and that they have that really good training about, how to handle customers with their own personal touch. And then another partnership success, this one is specifically between the Job Center of Lake County and the CLC Adult Education Program. So we collaborate on tape testing. When Demar Harris from the Lake County Workforce Development, which is part of the Job Center of Lake County, approached me and said, "Hey, Arlene, is it really too much of a is it really too much of a task if we refer our clients who are actually eligible for training, for job training, if they can go to you instead of us to do the tape testing?" And I said, "Sure, what's going to be involved here?" And so he just basically described to me, like, on a weekly basis, how many can we expect from the Job Center of Lake County referrals for clients that need tape testing. And I really thought that, this is going to be throughout, that we expect this to happen like on a weekly basis. And this is not going to be like, okay, it's only at the start of the semester or it's only at the end of the semester. No, this is actually going to be throughout the year. And I said, I think we can handle, what he said as the number. And for the first quarter, there were 160 tape referrals since July. And this is over and above the Unify referrals. So it's really been successful. My staff in our enrollment and testing services, they are so awesome. They're able to actually handle the workload. So really, really a good collaboration. And somebody did say that the PII on the chat box is personal identification information. Thank you, Susan. And next slide. So we have also, aside from the Unify system, there is now even a more intensive meetings with, and this is in the case of, this is just one example. So Eva Locke has scheduled, she scheduled what she called intentional partner integration meetings. And basically what that is we really have a clear agenda and we really want to see output and outcomes that will arise from these meetings. So the Job Center of Lake County, Eva Locke and her group, 3 meetings were held between the One Stop and 3 Job Center partners that offer adult education programs. And she does this not just with us, but she also does it, let's say, with the youth partners or with the social agency partners. And she has certain topics and she has certain outcomes that we really all promise that we're going to work together and to promote to actually advance whatever agenda that we had. So for the adult education partners of the Job Center, the topics were, the current service delivery, like how do we make sure that's efficient, identifying student and instructor needs, training and education that's needed by the students, and then also like career pathways for those students. Right, so we are mandated by Title II of WIOA that adult education must provide workforce preparation, college and career readiness, and then we have to make sure that the Job Center is involved in that as well, and they are. The outcomes that emanated from those meetings was that there's a video of the Job Center for students and instructors, and then there's interviewing workshop and video that are appropriate for ESL students, and we're going to be working on these outcomes. And I think, is Eva here?
She is here. I see her, and I believe the host is trying to bring her over. Hi, Eva.
All right. Okay, so I guess next slide. So questions. Eva, I think we were able to get through the whole PowerPoint, and so now it's questions. I'm hoping that you will be able to answer any questions about the presentation.
Arlene, you've just.
Yes, I'm here for that.
All right. So thank you for taking us through. And I was going to say, Arlene, you've demonstrated for us the power of a good partnership that so thank you for doing that. At this point, we have a couple of minutes for questions. If there's any questions, if you want to put them in the chat, and then having Arlene and Susan's partner here, Eva Locke, if you have any questions for her. We'll give it just a minute to see if we have any questions put in the chat. But thank you very much for sharing the wonderful service integration. And I love your statistics showing that there has been, that everybody has been participating. That's fabulous. All right. And thanks for sharing your contact information. That way, if people want to reach out to you to learn a little bit more about the process that you have modeled for us, that is available. That's part of what we love about the Transitions Academy, is spotlighting great practices. So we do have one question here. Could you explain how career service functions were divided up between College of Lake County and Lake County workforce?
Ooh, okay. Well, that is really a very, what I would call an operational question. So we don't really think of it as dividing between Lake County workforce development and the College of Lake County. So CLC is really supposed to be providing, career and technical education, both for, like your traditional students and the non-traditional students, which adult education students are part of. So for us at CLC, we really have a good partnership with the Job Center of Lake County. And Eva, you can add more to what I'm going to say. So one of the things that we partner with, because we also have like the Career and Job Center of Lake County, Career and Job Center of CLC. So Career and Job Placement Center. So the Career and Job Placement Center is actually really actively engaged with Demar Harris, who is what is his title again, Eva?
He is the program director.
Program director. So there's a lot of collaboration, not necessarily duplication of services, but like for Career and Job Placement Center at CLC, we provide the same type of services that actually Eva provides as well, but ours is directed towards students, and the Job Center of Lake County, of course, is directed to everybody in Lake County who needs job search services. So, but I believe, Eva, if you can I don't know exactly, like Demar knows about, the job link, the Lancer job link, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. And that there is encouragement, because Demar and Sylvia work really well together with each other, that there is actually information that is also provided by Demar to the employer, saying like, if you want to make sure that you have a presence in the Lancer job link, because that is the clearinghouse between employers and potential employees to connect with each other. So employers know about Lancer job link, CLC's Lancer job link through Demar Harris from the Job Center of Lake County. And then vice versa, the Career and Job Placement Center of Lake County we actually participate in job fairs and career fairs that are sponsored by the Lake County Workforce Development and the Job Center of Lake County. So there's really a good integration and a good collaboration between the two, and we don't really want to think of it as like a division of labor. And Eva, you can chime in.
Sure. I would just, well, first, I just want to apologize, everyone. Small emergency this morning. But I knew this was in capable hands. And I think that's an example, right? About we know what each other's doing and support each other's services. Now, the question, to a certain extent, the Job Center of Lake County does not exist on its own. It is the 14 Job Center partners, including the College of Lake County. So when you say division of labor, to a certain extent, that just means that all of the partners are pulling together to provide services. We do have independent services as well, but we've convened together to decide what we're offering. And that's constantly in flux. We're constantly having that conversation. And that goes back to the piece that Arlene presented about the integration meetings. We have these small meetings with partners offering like services to talk about how can we integrate better? What could we do? And to Arlene's point, potentially reduce duplication and increase impact.
All right, thank you so much for answering that question. I don't see any additional questions in the chat, but we do have a lot of people thanking you for the work that you're doing and for showcasing today and modeling effective partnerships.
Thank you too. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Yes, so thank you. So now we are going to transition into our second session of the morning, and that is sharing the load. And I think that's great because Eva and Arlene have just modeled sharing the load for you. So now we're going to see some additional partnerships that are going to be showcased. And Angela Gerberding from ICCB is here with a panel of different individuals from the state. So I'm going to turn it over to Angela. I'm going to stop sharing and turn it over to Angela and let her introduce the people that will be sharing how they share the load.
Sure. So can somebody give me permission to share my screen? That would be helpful, but we can go ahead and do introductions. I'm going to start with Maggie Wolf and let her introduce herself.
Everybody, I'm Maggie Wolf. I'm the Director of Adult and Community Education at Kankakee Community College, and I'm also the President of IASA this year.
Congratulations, I think.
I think that too, I think.
And Christina from Rend Lake, I will let you introduce yourself and then the rest of your team.
Okay. Hi, I'm Christina Manchin. I'm the Director of Adult Education at Rend Lake College. Glad to have my cohorts here, and I'll let Gabby and Lee introduce themselves.
I'm Gabrielle Farner, Dean of Applied Science and Advanced Tech at Rend Lake College.
Hi, good morning. I'm Lee Dunning. I'm the WIOA Program Manager for Mantricon.
Good. Thank you, ladies. And so I've got all their names and emails. So when we're done with this and you have a lot of questions, you can just email them and they'll be happy to field all of those emails from all of you. But we wanted to talk. So what Arlene and Eva were talking about were how they have made their collaboration work within multiple core partners and how all of that works that way. But what we also want to show is how, again, these two different programs are doing different things, collaborating internally, externally, and how they're working with different organizations, different parts of the pie. So Maggie, I'm going to start with you. Can you explain some of your collaboration efforts, who you're working with, how that all fits together?
Well, we are very fortunate to have what I think is a unique situation is in that our college is the one-stop provider. So that really allows us to work together and collaborate, and also to share information at least with Title I and Title II. Of course, we do bring our other partners in, and we do have at least quarterly one-stop meetings. We take time to set the goal for what we want to achieve, like everybody does, and then we work together toward that end. Right now, we're focusing on, well, we have to revisit training for the frontline staff, which we have to do periodically as everybody has turnover, right? And we also are looking at topics like, does the community, we know we're awesome, but does the community know what we're doing? So we're working on that piece. We're also, of course, working on the employers. Do employers know what we're doing as well? So that's where we are right now. I don't know if I answered your question, but that's where we are right now.
So you answered the question, and not with the answer I was expecting, but you did answer the question. So are you working, so you also are over community ed, right? So how are you working some of your IET collaboration pieces?
So what we do is our workforce board approved use of WIOA funding to pay tuition for people who do not have a high school equivalency, which allows us to partner with those folks to have our students do, we don't call it dual enrollment because those of us in education know that implies a bunch of different things. We call it co-enrollment, which, as we know, allows people to do things faster, quicker, and get into the workforce easier. So we collaborate in that regard. Of course, everything has to be approved by the workforce board based on, jobs in the community, availability of employment, et cetera. So we work backwards, right? We all work backwards. What's out there? How do we get people there?
Okay, cool. Thank you. Christina, what does your Rend Lake partnership look like? You have 3 people.
I do have 3 people, and it's awesome. It took a while to get here. I got to say that we've been fortunate in that our workforce board leader is formerly with adult ed, so she understood adult ed students and their unique needs. So that was a plus. And Gabby has been great to come in as our CTE this year. She's actually doing more to assist with us as we develop them. As far as the workforce board, I think that we have always worked closely. There's not a part that if they ask us to join in, we're willing to do so. We have something or a project that we need, they're always there for us. I just think that it has been a very smooth. WIOA might have forced a little more open and communication and all that, but I think we already had all the pieces in place to do that. So I'm very grateful for them. And Lee, I don't know if you have, or Gabby, have anything you want to add to our kinship?
I think on our end, it's kind of a natural fit. Our students, are in the CTE area and stuff like that. They actually do get a little more hands-on one-on-one time with the instructors and with some of Christina's students. That's exactly what some of them need, is a little more encouragement than some of our traditional students. So I think the partnership for us with adult ed and the CTE world has been a natural fit.
Yeah, and I think, all the pieces fortunately were in place whenever I came into my position. So I'm fortunate to, have people before me that made those strong partnerships. But I do think, we are in frequent communication, and that really is the key to all of it. It's, we are regularly talking and emailing with Christina and others in the adult ed department. And at the end of the day, that's how we figure out what's going on. And we hear about new things coming before they're a surprise to us or to Christina or anyone on her staff. So,
Angela, I'll just add there. One of the things I would encourage new partnerships forming with your LWIBs is to get a hold of your local and regional work plans, because what their plans are have to be in those documents, and they're available on Illinois WorkNet. Now, we were fortunate, we were actually a part of writing the plan. So I knew what was going to be in them. But if you don't know what your workforce plans, goals and objectives, I mean, we all have the same objectives. So if you can get a hold of those plans and you can read those and find out, oh, here's what they're going to do with incumbent workers. We might be able to help here. Here's what their plans are with working with youth. You know, here's where we may able to be. So that if you need to form that partnership with your LWIB, even if you're not the person sitting on the board, you could go knock on the right door and say, hey, we can help you meet your objectives. We can help you get tied up with the right people to get our students into your programs. The other thing is, even if you're not sitting on the board, there are often many, many committees within the LWIB that perhaps you can join one of the committees. Maybe you can get on the one-stop committee. I know we have a workforce committee. So that's another tie-in. That's just kind of a natural fit for adult ed to be, you know, we are a required partner. So you don't have to go at your workforce board like, well, you have to partner with us, but go in with it of the approach of, look, we can help you meet your goals. We can help you meet your objectives. And here's how. So I think that is one tip that I would really encourage people as you're starting to develop those, if it's brand new, or even if you already have a working relationship, but maybe not with that department that you need, because the workforce board can be big and a little intimidating if you don't know all those acronyms that are flying around.
Thanks. So Maggie, I'm going to ask you this question. How did you form that relationship with your WIOA? I mean, you said you're in the same are you in the same building or just on the same campus?
It's down in our North Extension campus. And so we had everybody there for a while. Now IDES they're still our partner naturally, but they've moved out of the building.
Okay.
So I have to tell you, we have been struggling with how to make the connection because we all have different what we can share. So I can share with Title I because we're in the same college, but it's harder to share information with IDES and Voc Rehab because of the PII, right? That they were talking about in the last one. So we have been struggling with that. So I have to say thank you to Arlene and her team, because I'm totally going to take that back to our one-stop. So how do we, at the beginning, everybody just came to it because everybody realized it was a good idea. We are kind of struggling now to have everybody at the table because I think that, I don't know why, but the reality is that we all have a part to play and we're all doing the best we can. So we have been struggling this time to bring everybody to the table, to be quite honest.
Okay.
That
Do
helps.
you
That's the truth.
do you think that is external pressures of just having everyone wearing multiple hats at this point? Or do you think that is like some change in staff, that somebody new has joined that they just don't know? I mean, and I don't even want to get into the middle of the business.
No, we're not going to.
But you know, there are different nuances that go on with groups like that.
I think you're absolutely right. I think the turnover rate, people are leaving, people are joining, they don't really know what it's about. And it is exhausting to constantly have to revisit that and explain that to people, but it's worthy. And this is what we're constantly telling people is we're the kiosk. We're the kiosk. Every partner is a kiosk that gets people to the on-ramp for the one-stop. So I think you hit the nail on the head with that because there has been a lot of turnover. And I think that that's where that struggle is well, how do we fit in? What do you mean? What do you do? What does adult ed? What do you mean adult ed? What does adult ed do? So it's all of those pieces that are constantly having to be revisited. And that's okay because it makes our elevator speeches really good, right?
Right. You get lots of practice.
Lots of practice.
So I will let you answer this question just because you used PII. And just to make sure we're all on the same page, what are you referring to as PII?
Personal identification information.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. But again,
Yes,
as you said, we all live in the world of letters. So I want to make sure that we're all talking of the same letters.
Right. So, and we've also struggled with that because we want to put out marketing. We want to put out very strategic marketing that highlights specific people who have gone through the services. For us, it's fine. I have access to my folks and we can get a release. I can get a signed release. It's not always that easy for our partners. You know, they have to go up the chain and they have to get this one and that one and this director and that executive director and everything else. And it's very cumbersome. So that has blocked us in some ways, but we are currently working through that. So in a way, adult ed has it a little easier, but you know, we do the best we can. I totally didn't answer your question. Don't ever give me a form because I'll just talk.
Okay, then stop. No, I'm kidding. Christina, a question I have for you, and if anybody that's listening has questions, put those in the chat. We're happy to answer those as they come in. But Christina, how has your relationship with CTE built, improved, worked kind of over the last several years?
Okay, I can tell you when I first started looking at offering an ICAPs, it was in the healthcare field. And I went to the dean of the healthcare and was quickly told to kind of go back to your home. Just go back to your side of the campus and leave me alone. Had not a clue what we were talking about. So that's kind of, we started on ground zero, not really any interest in working with us or our students. And then as I believe part of it is because WIOA has kind of pushed the envelope to say, you know, adult ed is worthy. You must work. I mean, Run Like has always been accepting of our students and have always tried to integrate them. And as we have now become, I used to refer to adult ed as the stepchild that was kept in the basement. We were brought up ever so often when they needed to show us off and then quickly sent back down to our home. But now we have a full seat at the table. They want our students involved. They want our students in CTE programs. The VP truly believes in the team teaching method and the support they get. We've looked to see if there's other ways we can integrate that into some of the more, you know, like math and language arts programs and classes. So it has been a very good, like Gabby said, it's a natural fit. They've been very accepting. With having Gabby on board, you know, we know every instructor's not always key on having a team teacher. But when the dean is sitting at the table and saying, yeah, we're going to try this, and she can back us up, it is more effective than me trying to approach that teacher alone. Not that we've ever had to get nasty or hateful with a teacher, but sometimes that little nudge from, you know, one of their superiors has been quite the little help. And once they get caught up and understand what it's all about, you know, I think welding and some of the more manual labor courses, maybe those teachers were a little more hesitant to have our teachers with them. But then when that student started slacking a little, guess who they called? They were calling their team teacher to say, hey, what can you do to help? So, you know, with Gabby's help in talking to those instructors and letting them know what that team teacher's there for, that has just really strengthened the bond and helped us as we progress with our ICAPs.
Thanks. So I know one of the questions is always funding. How do you pay for this? ICAPs are expensive, bridges can be expensive. How do you cover all these costs? So Christina, can you talk a little bit about how between you and CTE and WIOA, I mean, I don't need dollar amounts, but general terms of how do you divide up some of those expenses?
Honestly, the only thing adult ed pays for is our team teacher. The college pays for the traditional CTE class. The students are enrolled in regular classes with all the other students. Lee and her team, if they are enrolled in an ICAPs program, yeah, we do require all of our students to apply for a Pell Grant or ability to benefit. And if they get that, but also Lee comes in and the workforce board helps pay those tuition and those fees. And, you know, I'll let Lee talk about some of the great things that they do to help students that are enrolled in our ICAPs programs. Can you fill us in, Lee, on your?
Sure. So yes, in ICAPs, if they're enrolled with us, then we do pay tuition and fees. If they are getting a Pell Grant, then that would be refunded to them. We will use our Title 1B funds before that to pay tuition and fees. We provide gas cards depending on, and it's a weekly flat rate. They get a gas card for transportation as long as it's not a solely online program. And if it is online and they're traveling to campus to do that with a support teacher or something, that's also fine. And then we can pay books and supplies. So if it's a healthcare program, they're doing some clinicals and they need scrubs, that kind of equipment, we can pay for that as well as a supportive service. So that's kind of the supportive services that we typically pay for ICAPs. We can also do some other things when needed on kind of an emergency basis, like a car repair, if it's keeping them from finishing their program, or those kinds of things. Anything outside of that, like housing wise or things like that, we would refer to other partners.
Okay, thanks. And just to put this out there, I know that each WIOA district, is that the right word? It's not the right word. LWIB, I'm not, sorry.
LWIA, yes.
LWIA sets up their own rules about what they can or cannot pay for, what those requirements are. So again, just like Christina mentioned, if you're in a district that you haven't been very involved, look for some of those inroads, possible inroads. Start small. You don't have to go in tackling the beast. Start small, build. And Leah, how difficult is it to change those rules? And I'm not asking, because and I'm only asking you this because you're in that world. Is it something that gets changed once a year and that's it? Can there be amendments made throughout the year? How does that kind of shift?
We have a local supportive services policy that we can amend throughout the year. We typically ask our workforce board to approve those types of changes. But as far as those supportive services, it is something that can change at any time. And, to be fair, everybody's got a different level of funding and different ways they have to use it. So while we do dedicate a lot to supportive services, not every workforce area can. And it could become July 1st of next year that our funding level dramatically changes and we have to change the levels of support that we can provide as well. So, but it certainly, those things are allowable in the law and in the state policy. So then those are the things that we currently do.
Okay. And there was a question specifically for you, Lee. For car repairs, is there a limit to how much a car repair would be?
Yes, we do have an annual, like a program year limit of how much we can pay for a car repair. And I believe that right now we're at $600. And that's typically reimbursement, like they would pay. But there have been times I've got a career specialist meeting someone tomorrow to get a tire because he needs a tire and he doesn't have the funds. So she'll be there with the corporate card for that. But yeah, so it's not going to fix a transmission that's completely out or anything like that. But for a smaller car repair, we can reimburse, or sometimes we've got, some real handy folks or somebody who's going to fix a car for them, and we will reimburse for the auto parts that were purchased. In those cases, if they've, if their brother's going to fix it or they can fix it themselves. So
thanks. So Christina, there was a question in the chat about how many students are involved in the Rend Lake ICAPs program. And I know you have several programs.
We do, and it varies like everybody else's program. We still struggle to enroll, especially right now during this time where you can work at McDonald's for $13 an hour. So why do I need to come get a GED or training? It has been a struggle, and of course, COVID set things back a little bit. So to say an average, gosh, we have 4 different approved ICAPs programs right now. And right now I have 1 student involved in 1 program. So, but in years past, we've had 12 to 15 in the various programs. So, you know, we are a small program, but it is still that, I think what we struggle with is that because ICAPs sometimes goes a little slower than their traditional college courses, because we want to add that support and that GED at the beginning, they feel like they can do it faster without us. Now we have, you know, we try to stay involved in all that. So we still struggle, and I don't know if it's appropriate to talk about what our brand new plans are in Southern Illinois.
Sure.
My other team members aren't on here, but because of that situation, because of, you know, even keeping students involved for a year-long program is a struggle. Myself, along with SIC, Southeastern Illinois College, John A. Logan, Shawnee College, and Rebound, and our wonderful WIOA partners in both WIOA 25 and 26, have come together to do a regional ICAPs plan, where we're trying to put together, like our WIOA people are letting us know, these are the jobs the employers are telling us they need right now. So we're looking at what industry recognized credentials that we can get to make several put together. So I know that environmental services is big right now. Everybody's needing those hospitals cleaned, and those nursing homes and all those long-term care facilities need all that COVID cleaning. So one of our health organizations is really looking to hire. So we have found a nationally recognized certificate that we could put students through. We always going to be the trainer on record. They're going to host the classes. Each adult ed program is going to provide a part of the support so that we can each count a student. We'll set up modules and let each, as the students go through, and so that we can count them not only perhaps in a GED class, but when it comes our turn, we will provide the teacher for that support class, and then we get to count them as an ICAP student as well. Lots of details that we haven't worked out yet. We don't have the ICAPs plan written. We do have a temporary name called SI Train, which means Southern Illinois Training and Readiness Skills for a Innovative New Career. But
Good job.
we're excited about the possibilities. If this short-term certificate works, then we'll look to add. There's a new casino opening in the region, but in our areas, it's not unlikely for students to cross, you know, they don't know what a college district is. They're going to travel from my district to John A.'s district. They're going to travel wherever they need to get that job. And with this casino coming in, there's going to be construction jobs for a while. Then there's going to be hospitality jobs. So that may be the next certificate that we could develop. And once we've worked together on this and we have all the minute details worked out, we can resubmit that plan with a new name and a new certificate, and hopefully get these people to work in 5 to 6 weeks with some industry recognized certificates. That's our goal.
We're very excited about it. The workforce boards, both the Southern Illinois Workforce Development Board that I in my LWIA, and then the Southern 14 board in LWIA 26 are eager to then put those students into work-based learning as they complete those ICAPs, so that we've been providing that connection with the employers and talking to them about their needs and making sure that we will have sites to place them at so that they're immediately putting the skills that they learn to work.
And have no fear, Sarah and Tara and I have already decided that if this goes well, they will be presenting at next year's Transitions Academy to inform all of you as to those minute details, how they got worked out, what they did, and what their successes were. So stay tuned for more coming. And that was all driven, I mean, programs, the ladies down there, and I say ladies because they are all ladies. I mean, I'm not leaving anyone out. Those program heads all put their heads together and went, okay, how are we going to do this? We have to figure out something different. And they came to Sarah and Tara at SIPDC and said, do you think this will work? And they went, well, I think we need to include Angela and make sure even all the way to the top, because they didn't want to spend time putting this all together if I was going to be able to go, yeah, that won't work because of this, this, and this. But we haven't found this, or that. And so they're continuing to keep their heads together and plug along. So it will go great. I have all the faith in the world in all of those ladies in that team. And like I said, we will be hearing from them in the future. Even if it's just Christina by herself, we will be hearing from that group and how they went.
It's going to work. There's too many great minds at the table.
That's right. There was one other question that came up earlier. And this maybe, I don't know if this is a Christina or a Gabby question. Do you use Perkins support for some of your ICAPs?
Yeah, of course, they've helped buy equipment if there have been programs or students that aren't eligible for WIOA dollars. Then Perkins can often buy those healthcare supplies or the welding caps or something. So that is something that Perkins, or, you know, we may be adding students to a welding lab. So maybe they need to help the welding lab buy a new simulator, or maybe they need to help the, you know, buy a new welder or something. So yeah, we work closely with Perkins as well. I think the internal supports outside of the CTE, you know, along with your student services and your financial aid and all that. Just this past year at Wren Lake, we did get a designated financial aid individual to send all of our students through. So that individual knows the special needs. You know, you may have to do a little more hand holding with an adult ed student. And we all have a advisor.
Did Christina freeze for all of you as well?
I think she did.
Okay. So we'll let her come back when she comes back. So Maggie, you've been quiet for a while. I'll let you get back on your soapbox. So what kind of internal funding are you guys using? Are you using financial aid? Are you using ability to benefit? Are you using Perkins, or what?
We have just recently started to explore ability to benefit. We're very excited about that. As I said earlier, and like Christine, we use adult ed funds for the adult ed course, but then WIOA pays for the tuition for that student. So Title I pays for that for us. But in order to do that, they have to actually apply for financial aid. So if they have access to that, then they get that as well. It's what we talked about years ago, right? So that braided funding. So we don't use Perkins, but they do have access to it through financial aid.
Okay, good. Thanks. I just, you know, I wasn't sure. I was like, I don't know where Maggie's at on all of this. So good.
Maggie's taking it all in and thinking that Christina and her team are rock stars, and I'm taking notes like, oh, I'm gonna check that out. I'm gonna check that out. So I'm just an observer to all of
no. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no. Nay, nay, I say. So are there any other questions from the field that anyone's got? So Maggie, I guess a question for you. We asked Christina how many students they are serving. Roughly how many students are you guys working with for ICAPs?
For ICAPs, it would be manufacturing. We're struggling getting manufacturing students, and I don't understand why, because it pays well. So, but we have a lot of CNA students. So I would say we probably have 8 of folks who are ramping up to CNA. So they're going through the process, the orientation. Like Christina said, it's a little more intricate, that process. So they are in the process of going through that. We are still struggling to get manufacturing students. We did run an advertising campaign recently that basically put the careers first. Hey, want to go into manufacturing but don't have an adult have a GED? Come see us. And that actually was very successful for a while. So I think we're going to rerun that, but that's where we stand. So I'd say maybe 8 in CNA, maybe 1 in manufacturing. We have a small program all the way around though. So.
Okay. Have you worked with very many of your manufacturing employers specifically to see if they'd be willing to make any referrals or help come do presentations in class or do any marketing for you. And we're looking for people, and you can get to us through Maggie.
Well, yeah, well, you know, it's interesting you said that because we actually, and when I say we, I'm talking about our, my Title I partner and also our CTE partners. We went around, we called it the Road Show. And we went around to some of our municipalities that are a little farther away. So for us, it would be, we're in Kankakee, our folks in Moments. And we strategically invited HR programs, HR representatives from local businesses to an event, to a lunch where we actually stood up and talked about what we offer. So we kind of transitioned from who we were marketing to the students to actually human resource folks, because a lot of times they just want people to skill up. And so we are trying to, we're trying to look at everything we can to help the students, the community, the businesses in the area. So I don't know if that helps, but it did in that case though.
Good. Again, it's just another idea, another way, because, you know, traditional marketing in adult education has been, here's the flyers around the community. Well, when nobody was going anywhere, flyers were not going to work. And it's caused us to rethink a lot of things. How do we market? And if we can't get to the students, do we use our partners to do the referrals, like in Arlene's case, or with what you ladies are doing? Or are we going directly to the employers and going, hey, if you've got somebody, send us over? So, you know, rethinking some of that is kind of what's needed at this point. Gabby, I'm going to ask you a question that's in chat, and I don't know if you can answer it or not, but because you're at Wren Lake, you are most likely, oh, Christina's back. Is the financial aid person that's dedicated for ICAPs and adult ed students, is that an adult ed person or is that a financial aid person?
That is a financial aid person.
Gabby is
Okay.
saved by Christina.
We did, we went through our associate vice president, and they took it and discussed it among themselves and designated who the two people would be in advising and financial aid.
Okay. So how hard was that sell?
You know, we were already offering ability to benefit. So it wasn't, I mean, I had asked on my own before and hadn't got very